I didn't think it would come to this, my friends. I didn't think we would be in this dark of a place. Nancy Pelosi calls for criminal investigation over Rep. Paul Gosar's anime meme. Okay, there's a lot to break down here, but let me just start by saying I did not think Paul Gosar's Attack on Titan anime meme would result in calls for a criminal investigation. That's why I didn't talk about it the other day. I assumed, people are going to complain it's a stupid story. But let me just slow down and inform you all, if you have not seen this story, because it is quite silly, but it's now resulting in people likening this to the, you ready? Civil War. That's right. So Rep. Paul Gosar of Arizona posted a meme video in which it's the anime Attack on Titan. Are you familiar with it? I've seen some of it. I'm not a big fan. I'm not saying it's a bad show. I just haven't watched it. Basically, there's like a human city surrounded with walls, and there are giant humanoid monsters called Titans that eat people. And the heroes have these things on their legs that fire cables that launch them in the air, and then they have swords. And apparently, the only way to kill a Titan, these big monsters, is to slice the back of their neck. I'm probably missing a lot of context there. I don't watch the show. That's the general gist of like the early episodes. Maybe something's different. I know at some point some dude bites himself and turns into a Titan or something. Anyway, I digress. That's not relevant necessarily for the bigger picture here with this meme. In the video, it's the anime opening to Attack on Titan. And Rep. Paul Gosar, as you can see in this grainy video, is one of these heroes fighting a Titan, and the Titan is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. In the meme video, the anime character with Gosar's face superimposed over it launches into the air with swords and slices the Titan Ocasio-Cortez. Okay, it's a silly video. It's like bad funny. Okay, I wouldn't say it was cringe. I mean, maybe some people thought it was cringe, but I would say it's bad funny. Like, it's so over the top and stupid, it makes you laugh, which I believe is the intent of posting ridiculous garbage like this. Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe you really enjoyed it. Here's what I got to say. We're now at the level where there's calls for a criminal and ethics investigation over this. It's. I think it's dumb. I don't think he should have posted it. Right? I think it's fair to say, like, let's tone things down, guys. But come on, man. Is this really where we're going? My favorite part about this story and the escalation is, for one, as I mentioned, we're at this point now where they're quoting, here's a quote, South Carolina sent Brooks dozens of new canes, one bearing the phrase, good job, another cane was inscribed to hit him again. And this was because this dude Brooks beat another member of Congress with a cane. There was a caning before the Civil War. And that's what they're putting. Right-wing fanatics like Gosar and Green are nudging closer and closer to rep-on-rep violence. They just keep pushing. All right, I'm not a fan. I don't think it was appropriate to post the meme, but I don't think it's the end of the world. And that's why I didn't care to talk about it until we escalate to this point where CNN is now making a cultural argument against the meme. Jill Filipovich is arguing that the meme is cringe. Okay. Let me read you the story about what Nancy Pelosi. This is the state of American congressional politics. This is what Nancy Pelosi has to be worried about. Let me just tell you, my friends. A few years ago, you may remember when Kathy Griffin posted a photo of herself holding. It was. I don't even know if I can describe the video without getting in trouble on YouTube, but it was a graphic video of her causing harm to the president, and it was in bad taste. It was nasty, and she should not have posted it. And I criticized her for doing so, as many did. Now, I will say similarly, in that context, Rep. Gosar posting an anime video where he's a character who launches in the air and slices the back of AOC's neck. Also not a fan. Shouldn't have posted it. It's nasty. I will be critical in the exact same way. There are certain differences in Kathy Griffin setting up a photo shoot where she's holding someone's head covered in blood, really bad, and someone taking an existing anime video and putting their heads on it. Still, I don't think we need this kind of stuff. I think it's fair to say, while I understand why it's funny to see Rep. Gosar, who's like in his 60s from Arizona, as an anime character flying through the air, that's the joke. We don't. All this does is add fuel to the fire. And I can certainly understand why an anime video is funnier than what Kathy Griffin did, but I put them in a similar category. Not identically, but it's bad. You shouldn't do it. Now, should there be a criminal investigation? No. Should there be an ethics investigation? No. Are you kidding me? Kathy Griffin got a suspension on Twitter or something, and everyone said don't do it. I mean, she lost her job. She got fired from CNN because she posted it, and, well, that's CNN's decision. This is a public rep who reps in Arizona, and it's up to the voters to decide whether or not he gets his job back. But let's break this down, and I have to go through this because the CNN article trying to critique the meme is the funniest rebuttal I've seen over memes. But here's the story from timcast.com. The 81-year-old Congresswoman, Nancy Pelosi, called for the House Ethics Committee to investigate the meme. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has called for a criminal investigation into Rep. Paul Gosar over an obvious parody meme that the congressman posted on Twitter. In the video, Gosar's head is on Attack on Titan character Eren Yeager's body from the opening credits of the first season of the show. The congressman fights characters with a Democratic New York rep AOC and Joe Biden's faces edited onto them. Quote, Nancy Pelosi tweeted this: threats of violence against members of Congress and the president of the United States must not be tolerated. GOP leaders should join in condemning this horrific video and call on the ethics committee and law enforcement to investigate. Law enforcement? I don't remember you or anyone else saying that Kathy Griffin should be investigated over what she did. And what she did was wrong. And I also think what Gosar did is wrong. However, if we're going to have standards here, I think it's only fair that we operate on the same standards that Kathy Griffin was operating under. Granted, she's not a member of Congress. That I get. So you want to have an ethics investigation? I roll my eyes and say, okay, tell the dude not to post a stupid meme again and we can move on. Criminal investigation? Sure, just as soon as Kathy Griffin gets indicted for threatening the president. No, it's not a threat. It's a gag video. Is it going over the top? I certainly think we're headed in a dark direction. I've been saying before, it's only a matter of time before someone in Congress gets caned. And that's a reference to the Civil War. And now, because of this meme, people are making the same references. Editing the heads onto others onto characters from film and television clips is a popular meme format that really took off during the 2016 election. Ocasio-Cortez responded to the meme by tweeting, "So while I was en route to Glasgow, a creepy member I work with who fundraises for neo-Nazi groups," that's an insane lie, "shared a fantasy video of him killing me. Also not what he did." She went on to complain that institutions don't protect women of color. WOC, walk. Okay, whatever. Ted Lieu said, "This is sick behavior from Rep. Paul Gosar. He tweeted out the video showing him killing Rep. Ocasio-Cortez from both his official account and personal account in any workplace in America. If a coworker made an anime video killing another coworker, that person would be fired." To be fair, Kathy Griffin did lose her job, and I don't think this was an appropriate video to post. I just think that when it comes to Democrats, they're quick to ignore when they do things wrong, and they're quick to condemn when someone does something wrong to them. And herein lies the problem. Someone like you or I might actually look at this and say, don't post this stuff, and look at Kathy Griffin and say, don't post this stuff, because we're willing to be fair and we're willing to point out it's inappropriate to post videos depicting you committing violence against someone else in a political space when we're hyperpolarized. The Democrats don't. They don't do it. And the establishment types, for the most part, there's certainly some lefty types who will call out the BS. But for the most part, the establishment never criticizes itself. And I'll give you the famous example when Rep. Steve King, I think he was of Iowa, made a comment about white nationalism. Republicans booted him off all of his committees, and then he lost his primary and he's out. Because conservatives are like, we don't want to play with that. That's bad. We think it's wrong. When Ilhan Omar crop dusts, as I call it, anti-Semitism for years. What I mean by that, what I mean by crop dusting anti-Semitism is that, you know how crop dusters get really close to the ground and then they fly away, but they don't actually touch the ground? Ilhan Omar has made several comments that make people like side-eye, like, is she making an anti-Semitic reference? But she does it so many times at a certain point you're like, maybe you, but what do we get? They won't even criticize her. When Congress came out to condemn hate, they didn't say, Ilhan Omar, you shouldn't have posted these things. They condemned all hate. just glossing over what Ilhan Omar had said on numerous occasions. She made a bunch of references about dual loyalties and all about the Benjamins, baby, which are very close to being anti-Semitic tropes. Notably that there's an anti-Semitic trope that people who are Jewish have dual loyalties with Israel in the United States, and it's specific to one country. That's why it's considered anti-Semitic, because people don't talk about any other country where there are dual citizenships. For the most part, it's just Israel. Now, that's why I say crop dusting. She didn't come out and overtly criticize Jewish people. She just made these tropes and people, But she did it several times. I think she did it like 4 times. And they couldn't even just say, we condemn anti-Semitism. Nope. When it comes to the Democrats getting criticized or attacked, or I mean like politically attacked, not physically, they all start screaming, and Nancy Pelosi's like, we need a criminal investigation into this. You know what, man? When Donald Trump was in the White House and a bunch of insurrectionists surrounded the White House, trying to tear down the barricades, fighting with police and federal law enforcement, to the extent that Trump was forced into his bunker, the left, the Democrats, and the media started making fun of him, calling him Bunker Boy. So please spare me when you're going to cry about a stupid anime meme video. When I saw the story, I chuckled, rolled my eyes, and said, he shouldn't have done it, but, that's it. That's it. We're escalating. We really are getting to a point where people are posting messages that they don't think are inappropriate, and I think is wrong. Kathy Griffin shouldn't have posted that. People should not have mocked Donald Trump as Bunker Boy, and Gosar shouldn't be posting a video depicting AOC and Biden as titans that are being attacked. I don't think it's appropriate. And I think it's all a sign that we are headed in a very dangerous direction. Yet the funny thing is, it's typically the left that says, I'm wrong when I say we are heading in that direction. Now they're the ones coming out with the posts where I'll pull up this one. This is from journalist Lindsay Bayerstein. She's, a leftist. And I'm not criticizing her over her criticism of this, because she's entitled to criticize this because I think it was bad. But I certainly think it shows that we're headed in this direction. And I think it shows the left agrees. She tweeted, right-wing fanatics like Gosar and Green are nudging closer and closer to rep-on-rep violence. They just keep pushing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's just Republicans or Republicans are the instigators. I actually think when leftists go out and burn down cities like they did in Minnesota, and then Kamala Harris fundraises on their behalf, it's actually the Democrats who have been pushing and escalating this for some time. This is the tweet she quoted. It's a Wikipedia article for Preston Brooks. South Carolinians sent Brooks dozens of new canes, with one bearing the phrase, good job. Another cane was described, hit him again. Paul Gosar, shame of Arizona, ought to be censured by Congress, but he won't be because the Republican Party is made up of the inheritors of people who believe it's their right to threaten and use violence when people tell the truth about them. Spare me your manipulations, your lies, and the garbage. Spare me. I have watched over the past couple of years as violent extremists cause rampant destruction in numerous cities, from Berkeley to Washington, D.C., Portland, Seattle, Chicago, New York, and many small towns. If you followed Michael Tracy's coverage of the BLM riots during the George Floyd riots, far left extremists caused so much more damage than the right ever has. Now, of course, there are individuals with right-wing views who have committed horrifying crimes, murders and atrocities and all that stuff. And we all criticize it because nobody wants any of that either. But here we are, where a meme is warranting a criminal investigation. But in Minnesota, after the George Floyd riots, they accounted for a certain number of people who died in the riots. It was about a week or so after, I believe, that in the rubble of a building that had been burnt to the ground, they found a corpse. This was Black Lives Matter. This was Antifa. This was Democratic voters and leftists who were bailed out by Kamala Harris and Joe Biden's staff. And they have the nerve to cry because of a meme posted by a Republican. I got no problem saying it. He shouldn't have posted it. And again, therein lies the problem. If you or I are willing to call out the left and the right, but the left will only call out the right, then the left gets away with it. And now you have conservatives saying, when the Republicans win in 2022, it is revenge mode. And I get it. This is the direction we're heading in, and there is no turning back. At a certain point, people who are moderate, independent, conservative, or, ultra conservative and far right are going to say, we no longer care to criticize anybody who agrees with us because you never do it either. Why should we be the ones who criticize people like Gosar or Steve King when they post things that are considered to be wrong, but the Democrats don't do it themselves? Adam Schiff goes on TV holding an envelope. I've got the evidence of Russian collusion. For years, they lied. Have they held their own accountable? No, they haven't. So I'll tell you what you can expect. Don't be surprised if the Republican leadership comes out and criticizes Gosar. For the most part, it's because Republicans are more concerned about the opinion of the New York Times than the opinion of their own constituents. But this is what you get. Establishment Republican leadership has no problem criticizing and condemning their own. And you know what? I respect it. They do. The problem is we're now at a point where you have these memes. There's a funny meme. It was a tweet that went viral on Reddit because Reddit is dominated by leftists. And it said, "Why I wish I could vote for the Democrats that exist in the nightmares of Republicans because I keep voting Democrat and they don't do anything." And that's because these people are far left. And they don't realize that Democrats are fairly far left, but closer to the middle of the left quadrant where they're far, far left. And they're like, why aren't Democrats abolishing private health care? Why aren't Democrats making hate speech illegal? And what are Democrats doing? Defending the banning and censorship of individuals for hate speech and actively eroding our borders, eroding our economy. And so when Republicans are like, it is a bad thing that Joe Biden is no longer enforcing border protections, the left says, but we want open borders. They think that Republicans, when they criticize open borders, genuinely believe that Democrats have opened up the borders and are just shuffling everybody in. While that is happening in certain respects, the criticism from the right of the Democrats is that they are not enforcing it enough. Certainly Joe Biden's deporting people. And there was a funny post. I think it was Kyle Kalinske who posted it. And he was like, under Trump, there was X deportations, and under Biden, there's way more, making it seem like Joe Biden was worse than Trump on immigration or on the border protections. And then I just had to point out, if Joe Biden is not securing the border and more illegal immigrants are crossing in, then you will see more deportations. It actually is indicative of Joe Biden doing worse on the border than Trump. But so long as the left genuinely believes that the Democrats are far right, they'll keep pushing these nonsensical lies. And so long as moderates and Republicans keep saying things like, well, I don't want to lump all the Democrats in with the same category because that's not right, then they will lose. They will keep losing. And I'll put it very, very simply. Why do these corporations do what they do? Why do they side with the woke, insane left? Well, for one, we know about I think it's called the ESG score, the social credit system for corporations. But I'll tell you, it's actually much simpler than that. I'll use Dave Rubin for this example because I like using either Dave Rubin or Carl Benjamin. We'll use them both. We'll use both of them this time. Do you believe it is possible that Dave Rubin and Carl Benjamin would lead a group of angry classical liberals to Twitter HQ with pitchforks and crowbars and rocks and bricks to beat, destroy, and attack because they're being censored on social media? Of course not. That would be absurd. No reasonable person would ever believe that Dave Rubin's going to be marching down the street with a crowbar going, ah! Will Antifa? Will Democrat voters? Will leftists? Of course, we watch videos of it all the time. So what do you think happens at these corporations when they're like, there's a bunch of angry right-wingers? They go, who cares? What do we care about? First of all, the independent individuals, the libertarian-minded people, and the right won't even boycott a company that spits in their faces, for the most part. And then they're sitting there. So the corporate execs are like, well, look, if we offend the right, they'll grumble about it, and they'll keep buying our product. Well, but sir, we've also offended the left. Whoa. If we offend the left, they're going to show up with baseball bats and torches and Molotovs. Tell them we're sorry. That's how it plays out. We don't see Republicans smashing up bank windows. That doesn't happen. So the banks don't care. And they'll just tell Republicans to shut their stupid mouths because they're stupid enough to keep spending money at these businesses. Look at the companies that are boycotting the post-millennial. This is serious. The post-millennial is being lied and smeared about, and these corporations, scared of the left, just cave. It's time people on the right and it's not, I say the right, but it is independents, and it is conservatives, and it is moderates, and it is even center left individuals. I'll tell you this. Pew Research put out this data, which is interesting. Maybe I'll pull up later, showing that the stressed, what are they called? Stressed sideliners, people not involved in politics, lean politically to the right. The people in the middle who are stressed and don't like politics lean right. So I'll just say this. The left is the fringe, but they're also the most violent. So long as that's the case, you will see Democrats call for a criminal investigation into Paul Gosar, and they will say nothing to the left. They will not criticize Ilhan Omar. They will make it about everyone and all hate. But Gosar is the one who's going to get slammed for posting an anime meme. I don't think he should have posted it, but it is what it is. It's about time, I think, people who oppose the establishment politics, the Democratic establishment, and the neocons, like the Lincoln Project garbage, y'all need to wake up and stop acting like the Democrats are going to do anything in good faith. Everything is a projection. I'll put it this way. For 4 or 5 years, the Democrats were claiming that Trump was had colluded with Russia. And they spent millions of dollars into a special investigation. And we now know not only was it fake, but the individuals at the center of the Steele dossier, which launched it, are being indicted. Democrats lied the whole time. Adam Schiff lied the whole time. And we're only getting some justice because of a special counsel appointed at the end of the Trump administration that Biden can't really do anything about. He could, but it would be seen as a hyper partisan move. So Durham's going to do what Durham does. That's the only thing you get. That's the very little that the right is actually getting out of anything. The point is, we know they lied for years. They know they lied for years. They will not come out and admit they lied for years. They just throw them under the bus. So please, over a meme, I don't care. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.